Hello and thanks for staying on LN 24/7. This is Politics Now. My name is Morno Balagbobo. Happy New Year. And in this new year, we are going to be focusing on the dynamics of party politics in Nigeria. Let's give you a rundown of our talking points. We'll look at waves of defections, concerns of Nigeria becoming a one-party state. And after that, we'll look at party internal crisis. What went wrong in APC? Yes, PDP, Labour Party, and others. And of course, 2027 alleged merger permutations to unseat President Tinubu. How did that go? How will that fare? Well, joining us on the show today is Jide Ojo, public affairs analyst. Jide Ojo is a development consultant and columnist with the Punch newspaper. We'll take a quick breather. We'll be back to break it down. Just stay with us. Glad to have you back with us. And so we begin. One major activity that characterized national politics in the year 2024 is the defection of members from the People's Democratic Party, PDP, the Labour Party, LP, New Nigeria's People's Party, NNPP, APGA, and others to the All Progressive Congress Party, APC. The implications of these movements have several implications. We rounded them up and we will be presenting them to you. So let's look at some of the implications of defections to the APC. The first, it strengthens the APC. The defection of members from other political parties to the APC can potentially strengthen the ruling party's position by increasing its numerical strength and support base. The influx of new members may enhance the APC's chances in future elections and consolidate its power at both the national and state levels. And that is why a lot of people are concerned. Secondly, political realignment. The defection of members from opposition parties to the APC may signal a broader realignment of political forces in Nigeria. It could reshape the political landscape, alter party dynamics, and influence the balance of power within the country's political system. Also, it will impact opposition parties. The defection of members from the PDP, the Labour Party, and NNPP to the APC could weaken opposition parties by reducing their membership, resources, and electoral prospects. And we can see how that played out in the 2024 by-elections in Ondo and Edo states. This could potentially affect the ability of these parties to effectively challenge the ruling party and offer alternative governance options to the electorate. You saw what happened during the National Assembly plenary sessions in the year 2024. It was just bring it to the National Assembly and it is all approved. Now, the fourth point talks about policy shifts. The defection of members to the APC may bring about changes in the party's internal dynamics, policy direction, and ideological orientation. When you have people coming into the party, this could influence the party's decision-making processes, agenda setting, and of course priorities, and leading to potential shifts in governance approaches and policy positions. Next on the list, you talk of electoral implications. These defections could have implications for future elections, including elections like local government elections, state government elections, and the general elections. The APC may benefit from increased support base, enhanced organizational capacity resulting from defections, potentially impacting electoral outcomes. Now, these are some of the key issues. And if you would recall what former Vice President Atiku Abubakar said within the year about the chances that the APC is gradually moving Nigeria towards a one-party state. Now, let's break it down. Let's start with the fact that the past few weeks has seen massive pullout of PDP members, Labour Party members, and NNPP faithfuls to the all ruling Progressive Congress Party. But is this surprising? Is it new? It's not new. It's the norm It's what has happened before, and it is what will continue to happen. But what's driving this wave of defections? Those who switch political parties often blame internal political crisis in their former party as the sole aim for their decision. Now, here are some general reasons that could have contributed to internal crisis in the All Progressive Congress, whether it's the PDP, the Labour Party. We've got some infographics with you. I mean, this one in particular, was seen in all the political parties in the country this year. In the year 2024. You look at internal power struggles and leadership conflicts within the party. Hierarchy leads to divisions and infighting, competing factions vying for control of the party. That is one that was very, very peculiar with the Labour Party. Then secondly, ideological differences, divergent views on what the party's ideology should be in terms of policy direction and strategic goals among members can generate internal discord. Then you talk of disagreements over core principles and priorities can also fracture parties' unity and cohesion. Then the lack of internal democracy, issues relating to lack of internal democracy such as transparency, inclusivity in decision-making processes can breed discontent amongst party members. When key decisions are made without consultations or consensus building, it can alienate certain factions and feel internal tension, and this one is peculiar to the APC. And also corruption and mismanagement. Allegations of corruption, nepotism, and mismanagement of party resources erodes trust, credibility, and morale within a political party. Scandals and ethical lapses weakens the party's image and undermines its legitimacy. Recall Abure from the Labour Party, who was allegedly accused of misappropriation of party funds. Away from that, we move to electoral performance, which is very key. Poor electoral performance, losses in key elections, and failure to deliver on campaign promises can trigger internal dissatisfaction and finger-pointing. Members blaming leadership for electoral setbacks, like we saw with Wike and Atiku Abubakar in the PDP. And of course, lastly, external interference, such as external actors, vested interests, or rival political forces can exacerbate internal divisions and destabilize party structures. Manipulation by external forces seeking to undermine the party can exacerbate existing tensions. These are some of the things that we've seen. Then also the lack of communication, such as inadequate channels of communication in terms of lack of transparency, decision-making, and poor dissemination of information within the party can create misunderstandings, rumors, and mistrust amongst members. Clear and effective communication is definitely essential to prevent internal conflicts. Then failure to address grievances. This is very key when you look at some of the crises in the political parties in Nigeria in the year 2024. Ignoring or mishandling grievances raised by party members, neglecting to address internal disputes, and failing to provide avenues for conflict resolution leads to tensions that escalate and deepen internal divisions. And addressing these underlying issues and implementing measures to promote internal cohesion, transparency, and inclusivity are essential for political parties to navigate internal crisis. And let's just do a quick breakdown quickly. Let's start from the People's Democratic Party. Once a dominant force in Nigerian politics, finding itself grappling with an existential crisis as it steps into the year 2025. The challenges of 2024 have underscored the party's steady decline, marked by internal discord, waning influence, and inability to present itself as a credible opposition. A major factor contributing to the PDP's troubles is the persistent leadership crisis, the continuous presidential primaries of 2022, where former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and former Rivers State Governor and now Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, clashed and set the stage for prolonged discord. Also, IU suspension as party chair and Damagun's continuous leadership adds to the crisis. Let's move over to the Labour Party, which on the other hand has been in existence for several years, but became a major political opposition party last year. In 2023, after its presidential candidate, Mr. Obi, led the party to third position in the general election. The party's crisis stems from different groups claiming ownership. You have a faction led by Lamidi against Mr. Abure, and also talk about the months ago where there was fallout between Mr. Abure and the NLC, and now supposed friction between Peter Obi and Abure. Furthermore, the new crisis in the new Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, in Kano State is said to have taken a new dimension during the course of 2024 as Kano State Governor Abba Kabiru Yusuf reportedly boycotting meetings called for by his political godfather Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. The political conflict reached a crescendo where the seemingly low-level-headed governor has been refusing to pick Kwankwaso's several telephone calls. This is aside the session of the Kwankwasoya political movement by top politicians in the state who were hitherto seen as Kwankwaso's die-hards. Now, with crisis here and there, no doubt it provided difficult for talks of a merger to pull through as conversations on the 2027 elections picked up steam in 2024, and I'm very sure it will continue even in 2025. Now, do recall that Atiku Abubakar warned that Nigeria is fast becoming a party system and called for a formidable opposition to address what he regarded as a decline in democratic values in order to prevent the country from becoming a de facto one-party system. Well, joining us now virtually from Abuja to make sense of some of the key issues in Nigeria's political party, examining the dynamics of all that played out in party politics in 2024, is our guest, Jide Ojo. Thank you, sir, for being with us on the show.
It's my pleasure. Compliments of the season. Happy New Year in advance.
Now, Mr. Jide, it's been quite an eventful year looking at party politics in 2024. Lots of shifts to the APC by former members of Labour Party, PDP, NNPP, APGA. Now, what's responsible for this shift?
Mana, the truth is that opposition politics is not cool anywhere in the world. And Nigeria is not an exception. If you recall the 16 years of People's Democratic Party, after every election, the major opposition party chieftains empties themselves into the PDP under the guise that they want to form government of national unity. They want to help rebuild the country. But in actual sense, it's about their own personal aggrandizement. I always use the analogy of two countries as a metaphor for politics. You are either in Siberia or you are in Saudi Arabia. In Siberia, the weather is inclement. It's a very dry, very infertile, very isolated place because of the very cold weather. And Saudi Arabia, on the other hand, is a land flowing with milk and honey, a lot of resources. It's earning a lot of money from pilgrimage, from oil, crude oil, and several other sources. So every political party practitioner or politician of note, more often than not, want to be in Saudi Arabia than be in Siberia. So after every election, you see them emptying into the ruling party. not only for sake of what they will get in the immediate period, like contracts, like appointments, but also what they stand to gain in future. For instance, some of them may want a re-election and felt that it is the ruling party that can give them the ticket to be able to get re-elected into the National Assembly. Some look at higher positions. Look at someone like former Governor David Umahi, who was the former PDP chairman in Ebonyi State. I think he was also former deputy governor. I'm not too sure. Then he became a governor. After serving the first time under PDP, in his second term, he decided to defect to All Progressive Congress. Today, in 1 year, he had become three feathered chief. He has become a governor, a senator, and a minister. And man, I can count on my fingertips very few individuals who have achieved that clout. Governor, senator, minister, and all of this within 1 year. He ceased to be governor on May 29, was inaugurated into the National Assembly in June 2023, and by August 2023, he became the Minister of Works. So people like that have their eyes on greater portfolio after they leave office. And you see people like another GSM, Gaydam, former governor of Yobe State, who also was former governor, former senator, and now former and currently Minister of, I think Minister of Defense. You also note that, for instance, the wave of obedient movement, you have swept about 34 people into House of Reps, about handful of senators into the Senate, and also quite a number of people into the State House of Assemblies. That obedient movement lost its steam after the loss of Peter Obi in the presidential race. Today, the Labour Party is in tatters, arising from the litigations about who is the actual chairman of the party. At some point last year, the Nigeria Labour Congress said they have taken over the administration of Labour Party. Julius Abure has gone to court. Court of First Instance reinstated him. Court of Appeal has reinstated him. The case is now before the Supreme Court. As the litigation goes on, those who have seen the handwriting on the wall definitely have voted with their feet. It first happened in Enugu State, where about 5 members of the Labour Party defected to the PDP. And recently, about 6 House of Reps members have left Labour Party for All Progressive Congress. But it's not only Labour Party that is leaking. Even PDP, you recall that the daughter of former governor of Delta State, what's his name, has also joined the APC in Delta. Former governor, I'm struggling to remember his name now. But his daughter, who happens to have won election under the PDP, has defected to APC, citing crisis within the PDP. So, in summary, it is totally not expected that people will defect and cross-carpet after every elections. In fact, if there have been provision for independent candidates, Some will have defected and become an independent after they are winning the election under a party platform.
Mr. Jide, if it's so easy to move from one party to another, would you say political ideologies are not so different? Then why do we insist on having several political parties?
Mana, you should understand that political parties, particularly in this part of the world, are viewed as a special purpose vehicles. They are like SPVs, special purpose vehicles. And once they are used, they are discarded. In fact, the Constitution, by not even sanctioning any governor who may want to defect, has opened the floodgates. Because while you want to punish members of the parliament or members of the legislative assembly by saying that there must be division within the party before you can defect, and I'm citing section 68 1G of the Constitution. While that provision says for a member of the House of Reps or National Assembly to defect, there must be factions and division within the leadership of the party at the headquarter level. For the governors, he didn't even give any conditions. So we have seen a number of governors who voluntarily defect, even when there is no crisis within their party. And I give you the instance of former governor of Cross River State, Professor Ben Ayade. As at the time Ben Ayade left PDP, there was no crisis. I gave you the instance of the Minister of Works now, Dave Umahi, and several others who have left the party that brought them to power to join the ruling party at the center. And nothing has happened because the Constitution does not frown at it. And I've said, unless and until when the Constitution is rephrased to say that whether you are an executive member or either you are a member of executive branch or you are a member of the legislative branch, once you defect, you lose your seat for whatever reason, under whatever guise. Once you defect, you will lose your seat and there will be another election in which you are free to recontest under your new party. That's when you will see discipline coming into the political party systems. Because, okay, look at the instance where the law says if you defect under the guise that there is a crisis, leadership crisis at the center, at the HQ of your party, it is the Speaker of House of Reps or the Speaker of the State House of Assembly or the President of the Senate that will declare your seat vacant and write to INEC to come and conduct another fresh election. That is the situation that happened when Senator Monday Okpebholo, the current governor of Edo State, came to the National Assembly, was it last week or 2 weeks ago, to officially say he has ceased to be member of the Senate. And then the President of the Senate has written to INEC to come and conduct fresh election into that Edo Central Senatorial seat. The same thing happened when the current Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, also after inauguration, was appointed as the Chief of Staff to the President, and he had to relinquish his position as a member of the House of Reps. This is because the procedure is that it is the Speaker of House of Reps or the President of the Senate or Speaker of the State House of Assembly that can so declare. So ask yourself whether Dr. Tajuddin Abbas, the Right Honorable Speaker of House of Reps, would declare the seats of the Labour Party members and the PDP members who have defected from their parties to APC, whether he will have the audacity to declare their seat vacant and ask INEC to come and conduct a fresh election. The one that happened in Rivers State is still contentious. There have been several litigations, and I'm sure until that case gets to the Supreme Court, we will not hear the final verdict on whether the defection was meritorious or not.
Why was it difficult for political parties to manage crisis in the year 2024?
Political party is an agglomeration of the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's an all-comers affair. It's not an all-saints church. It's not an all-saints assembly. So you should expect that there will be conflict. Even it is said that out of every 12, there must be a Judas. And the Garden of Eden can never be complete without a serpent. So it is expected that every political party will witness one form of disagreement or the other, which is why in their constitution, they always have mechanism for resolving conflict. But unfortunately, the party leaders who are supposed to help with the reconciliation are themselves the dramatic personnel in this whole crisis, particularly when the leadership crisis has to do with the chairman, the secretary, and key figures in the National Working Committee. How do you then reconcile them? Because they have a lot of power. Look at what's happening in PDP. It is about the leadership of Damagum as acting chairman. Damagum has been in acting capacity for more than 1 year. The party constitution is very clear that maybe you can only act for 6 months pending the conduct of a convention. But now the man has gone to court to obtain an injunction that he will not leave that seat until the expiration of the term of the chairman. He was not the elected chairman. It was Iyochayu that was elected the chairman. He was just brought in from Northeast. That position is zoned to the North Central. He was brought in from Northeast to come and superintend in acting capacity. Now, rather than being in acting capacity, he has become a thorn in the flesh of the party, and they are finding it difficult to do away with him because he has been able to secure court injunction. So if the people who are supposed to resolve the internal conflict are themselves the dramatic personnel within the party conflict zone, then you see that the conflict will become intractable. In APGA, it was just just last month or thereabout, the Supreme Court laid to rest the leadership crisis in APGA. The one of Labour Party is here to be resolved. The one in PDP is still festering. And you can see how they are losing their members to the ruling All Progressive Congress. Unfortunately, you see that even when we say there is crisis in APC, people are not leaving APC. At least the elected members are not leaving APC for any other party. What does that tell you? Nobody wants to leave the comfort zone because they know that if they leave and join the opposition is like going to Siberia. Let me give you a quick analogy. The Ondo State gubernatorial election that was held last month, November 16, when they had their party primaries early this year, PDP was alleged to have conducted one of the best primaries in the history of the party in Ondo State. And APC is alleged to have conducted the worst primaries, to the extent that many of the dramatic personnel said there was actually no election. Now, the one that conducted a good primary lost all the other aspirants to the opposition parties. The one that conducted worst primaries now were the ones that people who left the one that conducted good primaries were running to. Don't you find it a kind of irony that the one that even conducted a good primary is the one that the people who commended the primary now they didn't even bother to stay to work for the victory of the winner. They now decide to go and pitch their tent and contest against the winner in their party, or just move into the ruling APC in Ondo State. That is the nature and character of our politics in Nigeria.
Mr. Jide, there's been allegations that President Tinubu is working behind the scenes to crumble political parties. Do you subscribe to this notion, and is Nigeria sliding into a one-party state as asserted by former Vice President Atiku Abubakar?
It's a potpourri of situation. I won't put it beyond APC that they could have orchestrated some of the crises. But largely, I would say that the crisis besieging or faced by the ruling party, faced by the major opposition parties are self-inflicted. They were self-inflicted. The one of Labour Party, it was about whether the tenure of Abure has lapsed or not. Is it the APC that said the NLC should go and take over the secretariat of Labour Party? Is it the APC that said that Abure could not account for the money that was realized from the sales of nomination forms and those donated to the P2B campaign? I think we need to look beyond whatever the ruling party may have done or be doing to the opposition parties. Because there is a popular adage that says, before you accuse the hawk of wickedness, first blame Mother N for exposing her children to danger. Before you accuse the ruling party of fanning the embers of discord, you are the one that first went into that crisis and disagreement and refused to reconcile yourselves to allow peace to reign. So the opposition party were just cashing on the crisis that you yourself have inflicted on yourselves. So that would be my own opinion. And it is a time-honored strategy. When PDP was there and was boasting that it will rule Nigeria for 60 years, it's the same strategy that PDP did. When PDP will appoint people from opposition party in the name of forming government of national unity, and then the opposition party will be in crisis, and they will find it difficult to resolve before the next election. That was why it was difficult to upstage or to uproot the PDP from the presidential seat for 4 electoral cycles until the opposition parties came together and formed a merger in 2013 ahead of 2015 election. It was always PDP and others. It was always PDP and others. And today, it is now gradually becoming APC and others. Or if we want to be magnanimous, we'll say APC and PDP, and then others.
The big question is, can a merger pull the trick to unseat the president come 2027?
Well, a merger could do the magic, but unless the opposition party is able to purge itself of this crabbism of my way or highway, even if they merge, they will not achieve their intention. Right now, Atiku has not dropped his presidential ambition and is looking for merger so that he could also be the next presidential candidate in the new party, if it ever gets to be formed. If he were to swallow his presidential ambition, it will help the merger to succeed, and then they will be able to conduct a free and fair presidential party primary. But the fact that he wanted to be the presidential candidate in 2027, when he will most likely be like 82, given the fact that he's like 78 now, people are asking, how can we vote a gerontocrat into power at such a very old age? So until when we have politicians who act like a statesman and not just form merger for their own selfish interest, that's when a merger will work. Otherwise, it will just be dead on arrival.
Mr. Jide, we've been talking about the opposition political parties, but is the APC safe? I mean, we have this talk of northern governors not going through with tax reform bills. What are your thoughts on that?
I granted an interview to Legit newspaper yesterday, which is already out, over this issue of tax reform and the political implication for Tinubu. It's available online. You can do a Google check, and I can send you the link. As far as I'm concerned, the tax reform will not affect Tinubu's chances in 2027 for the following reasons. Tinubu is ready to concede and compromise on the tax reform bills. Don't forget, he has already said that the National Assembly should form a committee that will work with the Office of Attorney General and Minister of Justice to review the gray areas in that tax reform bills. That's a master stroke. So the committees, I don't know whether it's joint committee or separate committees. They are, I believe about now, they should have started meeting with the Minister and Minister of Justice and Attorney General to review the gray areas. That's number one. When you also listen to his media chat last week, Monday, he did say he's open to compromise. That's number two. Number three is that 2027 is a long time to come. And if you see the concession that Tinubu has made for northern Nigeria, you will know definitely that the North will back him for 2027.
Mr. Jide, I'll have to cut you short, but what are your thoughts on economic hardship? Do we recall that in the year 2024, the North was some of the regions, one of the regions that started, this outcry with protests, if you recall what happened in Nasarawa State?
Wait now. Today, in spite of the paucity of funds and all of that, Tinubu has given Northern Nigeria Ministry of Livestock Development. He has given the Northwest Development Commission. All the former governors in his cabinet, he didn't relieve any one of their posts, even when they are not performing. These are strategies. Even the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs is now controlled by a northerner. And that is like a ministry that controls budget of over $500 billion. You recall that now there are two ministers in that ministry, which was formerly held by Betta Edu, the former national leader. All of these things, the Ministry of Agriculture is under the two ministers of agriculture are from northern Nigeria. The Minister of Livestock Development is from northern Nigeria. Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Police Affairs, even National Security Advisor, the Chief of Defense Staff. Now, all of these are concessions and don't also forget that as the Northerners are crying of marginalization, so are these people in other parts of Nigeria. It was in Ibadan, Oyo State, that people were even calling for regime change after the end bad governance protest of August 2024. And it's to tell you that the issue of economic hardship is not peculiar to Northern Nigeria. And if it's your brother, your kinsman, that is the Minister of Defense, Minister of Police Affairs, what else do you think the president should do to bring the insecurity under control? The National Security Advisor is from Northern Nigeria. The Chief of Defense Staff is from Northern Nigeria. The Chief of Army, the Minister of Police Affairs, the Minister of Defense, they are from Northern Nigeria. So, and part of the working out solutions to the insecurity of Nigeria was the creation of Livestock Development Ministry, believing that that will help to resolve the herders-farmers clashes and reduce the incidences of food insecurity.
Okay, looks like we lost Jide Ojo there, but I do hope we can have him back to continue with his thoughts. All right, good to have you back with us, Mr. Jide Ojo. You were talking about the northern region and their chances of pushing support for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu come 2027. Please go ahead.
So what my own take is that the economic hardship is not peculiar to Nigeria or to Africa, or it's a global phenomenon. I realize that yes, a number of countries have lost, a number of leaders or political parties ruling have lost election this year as a result of the rising cost of living. Such as happened in UK in July and US in November, and currently in Ghana on December 7th. But 2027 is still some time to come. If truly and sincerely the APC is able to get its economic reforms agenda on a right path and reduce the excruciating pains we currently face ahead of 2027, the president, God sparing his life, may still be able to win the election.
Now, in terms of your outlook for 2025, do you see the pattern of crisis lingering? Because, the parties are basically in a disarray coming from all that played out in 2024.
It will be worse in 2025 because unless the opposition parties are able to mend their fences, reconcile themselves, if the situation persists, the leadership crisis in APGA, APGA has been able to largely resolve its crisis, but don't forget, APGA is facing an uphill election next November in Anambra, and that's the only state they have. And I've asked about mixed reactions about the quality of leadership and governance of Professor Charles Soludo. If APGA loses next year's election in Anambra, which would be the first time the party would be losing since APGA was formed, or since Peter Obi took over from Chris Ngige. That means the fortune of APGA will nosedive, and many people who are elected representatives of APGA may find comfort in the ruling APC. Don't forget that even before his death, Senator Ifeanyi Ubah left the Young People's Party that brought him to Senate on 2 occasions for APC ahead of 2025 governorship election. Then you look at Labour Party, it all depends on what the aftermath of the Supreme Court decision on Julius Abure's tenure looks like, and whether Julius Abure and his National Working Committee members are able to reconcile with people like Alex Otti, people like Peter Obi. Don't forget that the crisis in the Labour Party is even much more deeper than we want to gloss over. apart from the members who have defected from Labour Party to the ruling party at the National Assembly and the State House of Assembly, you also notice that when Governor Alex Otti organized the local government election in November 2024, Labour Party did not win any seat, not even a councillorship seat. Out of the 17 local governments in Abia State, Zenith Labour Party won 15, Young People's Party won 2. And this is a government battered by the Labour Party. So it tells you the tragic situation of Labour Party as we speak. Then you look at NNPP. Even in Kano, NNPP is facing crisis. The faction of NNPP have expelled Rabi Musa Kwakwanso, and things are falling apart in NNPP unless they are also able to mend fence and resolve their internal conflicts. Members of the NNPP may find comfort in APC in the coming year. So it all depends on their conflict management strategies. If all the opposition parties are able to resolve their internal crisis, they may be able to halt the gale of defection. Otherwise, it will continue unabated in 2025.
Once again, Mr. Jide Ojo, Public Affairs Analyst, we want to thank you for your time on the show today.
I wish you the same. Keep safe and stay blessed.
Well, Happy New Year to you too, and of course to you, our viewer watching right now. And that's the much that we can take on the show today. Many thanks for watching. Once again, my name is Morno Balagbogo, and may God bless Nigeria and cause economic hardship that lingered all through 2024 to subside in this beautiful year 2025. Stay safe, everyone. Once again, it's bye for now.